we begin, I've linked everything I've used in the description, but many of the things can be bought much cheaper from a local DIY store. Here, I'm just cutting a foam mat to the size of the tank. This helps keep it level, and because it's foam, it reduces the chance of the tank cracking under pressure. I spent many hours deciding which layout to choose, but now looking back, the diagonal is much better, so I'm glad I chose it in the end. If you ever use silicone in a tank, you have to make sure that it's aquarium grade, as some contain additives that are toxic to fish and other animals. A good tip I've found is to have a bowl of soapy water nearby when smoothing out the silicone, as you can use it and it stops the silicone sticking to your fingers. Now, my siliconing job was not neat, but it doesn't have to be. You can always clean it up and hide it later on. I decided to clean up some of the excess silicone, but if you do this, you have to be careful as not to cut too deep, as you can accidentally pierce the seal you just made. After letting the silicone cure for 24 hours, I filled the tank up with water just to test the seal and make sure there were no leaks. Before moving to the inside of the tank, I decided to add a frosted background, as it makes the tank look less flat and adds a sense of depth to it. Having a drainage layer is vital in any sort of bioactive or high moisture vivarium, as it provides a space where the cleanup crew can thrive, and it helps drain water so it prevents the substrate from becoming waterlogged. When making the substrate, there are a few things you need to consider. Does it drain properly? Does it allow plants to grow and thrive? The substrate I chose to make for this particular build is my take on a jungle mix, but you can make yours to suit your specific needs. I used the wood to create different levels where I could plant, and by having it higher in the back I added depths to the vivarium. When making a vivarium, I like to spend a lot of time choosing the hardscape, as I feel it's the backbone of your entire build. Here, I'm only showing tiny clips from about 2 hours of placing in the wood and rocks, but I really wanted to make sure that I got the hardscape right. Before starting to plant, I like to lay out the plants in their pots, as it helps me have a rough idea for where everything will go. After rinsing the soil of the roots and about to plant, I like to add some worm castings into the area, as it adds some extra nutrients for the plants to thrive. When choosing plants for any sort of vivarium, it's important to make sure they grow in the conditions of it. To finish off the land section, I crushed some of the leftover dragonstone and littered it around the larger pieces, and little details like this really help bring the tank together and make it seem even more natural. When I'm working on finer details, I always have a small paintbrush so I can adjust little things. I filled the tank very slowly as to try not kick up any substrate and move the plants. Also, Mapani wood tends to release a lot of tannin, so keep this in mind if you use it, but I think a black water look looks very natural in a jungle-esque setup rather than crystal clear water. If you want a healthy bioactive vivarium, you need to add a cleanup crew. They are detrivores, so they eat any mould and rotting matter and help fertilise the soils, making the plants thrive. They help create a healthy ecosystem. Before adding the shrimp, I acclimated them by pouring in some water from the vivarium. This reduces the shock on them and reduces the chance of them dying, so it's always worth doing. When choosing what to put in the vivarium, I was torn between my fire ant colony, who are currently housed in this white-tongue nest, or vampire crabs. In the end, I'm very glad that I chose the vampire crabs though. I originally decided to get 2 crabs, but the next day I decided to get a third as it made it feel more complete.